Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Through Their Eyes. This month, we'll be discussing the holidays, our personal traditions, what we do to celebrate, and we're also going to touch base on materialism surrounding the holidays as well. So, to get started, I'm Emily, and I'm going to hand it off to my other co host, Anvi, to introduce herself as well.
Hi everyone. It's great to be back. My name's Unvi and I'm the other co-host. So Emily, let's get started. What are your cultural traditions or like what do you do around the holidays usually?
Mhm. Yeah, we were just talking about this like right before the episode started, but I was telling like Anvi, like, I think the only traditionally like specific things that we do in terms of like culture, I would say are like the foods that we make as well as like how we celebrate it. I'm Hispanic, so like for some reason Hispanic people, I actually don't know why I should know this, but we celebrate Christmas on the 24th. Like we don't celebrate on the 25th. Yeah, I know. It's like super like random, but like I don't know why it is. I don't know, but, like, it's, like that, I'm pretty sure throughout, like, all of Latin America. Like, we celebrate on the 24th, they don't celebrate on the 25th.
Oh,
Yeah,
really? Wow, that's interesting. So
I
like,
it
do you guys have like Christmas Eve on the 23rd or like how does that work?
no, we don't have a Christmas Eve. Like, what we do is, like, we just celebrate, like, the night of the 24th and, like, going into, like, kind of, like, passing over, like, midnight into the 25th, but we don't actually do anything, like, the day of the 25th. I'm, like, the one in my family that was like, "We should do stuff on the 25th too." So, like, it was kind of, like, a me thing that kind of like, it was, like, honestly, like, me, like, I'm the reason why we even do things on the 25th now, but that's also just because I was raised, like, American, so it's like well, not American, well, Northern American rather as opposed to what is it, Central American, but yeah, which is, like, some people I think it's because of the area that I live in, it's very, like, densely Hispanic, so to me, I kinda forget that other people are like, "Wait, what? Like, what do you mean you celebrate on the 24th?" You know what I mean? But,
Yeah.
um, yeah, aside from that, what else do we do? I think everything else is kind of, like, culturally specific foods. My family is Salvadoran, so we just, like, make pupusas, we make, like, these sandwiches, it's kind of like, it's like a very specific type of bread, but it's not like I don't know what the name for it is, like, in English, because like, I've only ever heard it, like, referred to, like, in Spanish, and I've only ever seen this specific type of bread at, like, Spanish bakeries, I've
Is
never
it like
seen
a
it
flatbread or like is it like a fluffy one? What type of bread
it's,
do
like,
you
fluffy, it's
fluffy?
almost, like, looks like a croissant, but not really. I don't even know how to explain it. I,
Is it
like,
like
want
flaky like a croissant like with layers and whatnot?
it's, like, fluffy, but the shape is like a croissant, hold on.
Oh, that's
Oh,
interesting. Is it like a sweet type of bread or does it have like no taste?
it's a
Like
French roll, that's what it is. In Spanish, it's called pan
oh.
francés. Yeah, it's a French roll. Me not knowing my breads.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
it's a French roll. But yeah, like, what they do is they, like, open it up and they make sort of like, birria tacos have been, like, really popular lately, like, you know what I'm talking about?
I
Yeah,
love those, yeah.
yeah, what they do is they make, like, a stew, right? Sort of like that, but instead of beef, it's chicken. So it's kind of like yeah, so, like, chicken is super juicy, and they put potatoes in it and, like, other vegetables in it. Mhm. So what
Dang.
is, like, they open the French roll and they put, like, that in it with, like, the juice and everything too, like, I guess it's sort of like a consommé or I forget what they call it, but and then afterwards they put, like, cabbage, like, normally, like, coleslaw or something, and then, like, either, like, cucumbers or, like, radishes. I, like, don't really like radishes, so I just ask for cucumber, and then they like, what is it? Before they put the chicken in, they, like, spread, like, mayonnaise or, like, what is it? Like, some other, like, sauce on the bread, that's basically it's actually pretty good though, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I don't know if it's one of those things where it's an acquired taste and that's why I like it, but I've always liked it even when I was a kid, and I was always a insanely picky eater when I was a kid. I was a chicken tenders and fries type of baby. But yeah, we have that, we have pupusas. Sometimes my mom will like enchiladas too. And then what else? Sometimes I cook for Christmas, sometimes I don't. I'm always on chef duty for Thanksgiving, so by the time Christmas rolls around, I'm, like, over it. But, yeah, sometimes I'll make roast chicken, like, my Americanized self, like, sometimes I'll make, like, roast chicken and, like, mashed potatoes and, like, some other, like, side, but this year, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I might, honestly, but that's what my family makes, and, yeah, we don't do the traditional, like, what is it, gift giving, like, situation
Yeah.
where, like everything's, like, under the tree and, like, you can't look. My I think that's just, like, specific to my family, though, 'cause I think my family, like, they kinda suck at surprises, so, like, my mom would just, like, tell me she'll be like, "Just tell me, like, one thing you want, and I'll get it for you." And I'm like, "Okay." And then just, like, we don't put it under the tree, though, which is, like, so random 'cause I'm like, "Wait, why do we have the tree? We're not putting anything" I understand why we have the tree, but, like, I'm like, "Why don't we put the gifts under it?" Now that I think about it, it is kind of, like, an odd thing to do, but it's really funny, honestly, and then What else do we do? Because I feel like there's some things that are niche to my family, and there are some things that are specific to my culture. But the
Mhm.
gift giving thing, that's so specific to my family because my cousins, their family, like, will do the whole traditional wrapping gifts and like putting them under the tree. Like my mom, she'll just buy them. She'll be like, okay, here. Because I don't think like my mom knows how to wrap presents. I think that's what it is, and that's why we don't do that. Because I don't know how to wrap presents either. Because nobody ever taught me. And honestly, like since we don't really do the traditional gift giving thing, I've never had a reason to learn. But
Yeah, that makes sense.
my family does do Secret Santa though, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, really? I thought your mom was bad at giving surprises.
She is, but she's, like, random, like, I don't know, my mom is so funny in that way. Like, my mom, like, I don't even know how to describe the way that she gives gifts. I really don't know how to describe it. Like if I were to tell my mom, "Oh, I want, like, a vinyl for, like, Christmas or something," right? Like, if I wanted, like, some, like, random, like, vinyl, right? My mom, like, let's say, like, me and, like, my freaking, like, Conan Grave session, I was like, let's say I wanted, like, a freaking, like, Kid Crow vinyl, right? And, like, that's what let's say I wanted that. My mom, like, she would go out and she would, like, go buy, like, some Spanish, like, CD and be like, "You said that you wanted, like, music, like, here, like." And I'd be like, "No, mom, like, a vinyl." And she'd be like, "What's that?" Like, "This is what we listen to, like, music on, like, a CD." And, like, she would give me that. Like, that's what I mean when I say, like, she's not like, she doesn't, like, do the whole, like, gift giving thing. Well, not the gift giving thing well, the whole, like, surprises thing well.
Yeah. So she kinda, like she has the spirit. She has the
Yeah, she
spirit.
has the spirit, but, like, the execution is, like, slightly off base. I'm like, "Okay, like, close, but, like, not exactly."
Oh
Like,
my
I forget
god.
ever though, but it's like, that's the whole reason why she's like, "Well, you have to just send me the link so I can get it, because otherwise I'm not gonna know what you're talking about." And I'm like, "Okay, true, fair."
Yeah. Honestly, you know what that reminds me of? So basically, when I was a little girl, my cousins in India, specifically one of my cousins in Yukti, she would buy us presents and she would basically, you know how Amazon has like the thing where they don't really like you can send a gift to someone and you can like send a little note in it. So I think when I was like 8 or 7, she would just send us gifts like anonymously and we wouldn't know what was in there. And then my dad, he would like talk to her because like she's like 14 years older than me. But like he would like talk to her, and then because like she would be like, "Oh my gosh, I have presents for Anvi and Anya, and basically I need you to wrap them." And my dad's like, "Okay, sure. Why are you doing this? But thank you." So it's just been a tradition I think ever since I was 8, and now I'm like 15, so it's I don't even know, but I think it's been like 7, 8. I don't know, but like it's been a while. So she just like does that. And then my sister, now that she's like 10 or 11, I should probably know that. She has been sending me on like these quests. So I'm like Santa basically in my household. That's the thing. I've been wrapping gifts for my family since I was like 10. So I've just been like doing that and putting it under the tree. So like I'd be staying up until like 10 and just like trying to put gifts under the tree for my little sister to be like, "Oh my gosh, there's presents underneath the tree." Just to make her happy. I don't know.
Aw.
But basically, I would do that. And then now in like recent years, she sends me on these hunts because she knows I'm Santa. She's not like a little kid anymore. So she sends me on these hunts. And I remember last year what she did was put like sticky notes to like tell me where to go. And then she put them all over the house. And then she was like, okay, go to the fridge. Now there's your milk. Okay, now go to the cookies. She made me fight for my cookies. And I was like, man. And then at the end of it, when I finally found the cookies, she was like, "Yeah, Santa, you're fat, so you have to work for your food." And I sat there, I was like, "Okay. Thanks, Anya. You're so sweet." But I was like up until 1 a.m. just trying to figure out the whole thing because it was 2 hours long. It was so bad. Because it was like in the dark, so I was just like taking my phone's flashlight, pretending to be like a reindeer or something, and I was like, okay, this is painful. But yeah, my Christmas traditions didn't really revolve around food or anything. It was more of just like having my family do specific things. Um, I was like going into this thinking, okay, we don't really have much to do. I remember I was talking to Emily about that. I was like, I don't really have much. I mean, there's not really much to talk about. But now that like Emily's, you're saying all these things, I'm just like, huh, I remember that. And I remember that. And I remember the one time I accidentally asked for a skateboard instead of like something else. And then I got like this, like, I don't even know, 7 foot long, like longboard. It was basically a surfboard on wheels. And I was just like, why do I have this? Um, We returned it, but I just remember, like, all these random memories, and I'm just like, "Wow, we did have a lot of stuff to do, and it really revolved around family." So I feel like the holidays for me was just celebrating a lot with my family, even though it, like, seemed really random, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I love the wild goose chase that your sister sends you on. That is so amazing. You guys sound like you have fun, and need something like that in my life. Like that sounds so freaking fun. I can't even lie. Oh, now I'm like, dang, like what can I do? Oh, I think like I forgot whether it was last year or 2 years ago. I would prank my little brother. Yeah, I remember like because I would do the whole like elf on a shelf thing. Like I know I bought one as a joke because I thought it was funny, and I would like hide it, and I would put it in like random places, and I'd be like, see, like this is what happens when you're mean to me, like, the elf on the shelf is watching you. And I was like, he's gonna tell Santa you're mean to me." Like, that's literally what he's gonna do, like like,
Tell your brother that? How old was he?
he was, like, really little when this happened, but it was, like, super funny, like
Oh my gosh, I like how we're just both chaotic older siblings.
No,
Wow.
I know, he took it so serious too, he was like, "No." Like, every time, like, we would talk, he'd be like, "Emily, remember, the elf on the shelf is watching." And I'd be like, "Okay, like, sorry," like but it was just super funny, like, I don't know, I love, like, doing, like, random stuff like that around the holidays just because like, I don't know, it just, like, makes it so much more fun, like, I don't know,
Yeah.
like, sort of just, like, partaking in traditions just to, like, go through the motions of it, just to say, like, you did it, like, sometimes it just isn't as fun, it feels more, like, obligatory, like, than anything, like, I really love, like, the more, like, sort of, like, fun, like, interactive, and, like, even kind of, like, lighthearted things like that. I think, like, this year, though, I definitely wanna switch it up, especially now that, like, I'm older and, like, I can do things, like, on my own. Um, like, one thing I've definitely been thinking about more is, like, giving back to the community.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so sweet. Oh my god.
Yeah, so what I wanted to do is I wanted to, what is it, like, help pass out food on, like, Christmas Eve. I thought that'd be, like, really cute and, like, fun. Yeah, I've been, like, trying to figure out where, because 'cause I've been, like, because 'cause I'm, like, I don't know whether I should do it, like, where I go to school or whether I should do it, like, back, like, closer to my house, but I thought it'd be fun just to kinda, like, give back. And then I also wanted to go to the Baltimore, like, Christmas Village because 'cause I've been meaning to check that out since I was in high school, yeah. I've been meaning to check it out since I was, like, a junior, and I've never gone, but I need
Really?
to.
I know you're oh my gosh, in North Carolina, we have something similar, it's called the Biltmore Estate, I think if you it's, like, the biggest estate
Oh,
in
I've
all of
heard of
North
that.
America.
I've heard of
Yeah,
that.
so my parents, they went there, when I wasn't even born yet, and then I was like, "Dad, I wanna go," and then I realized my sister, she's still too little to actually appreciate it and everything like that, and it's like $430 per person, so that's just absurd. So we're just like, I don't know," but on, like, the whole thing, I think, one thing I forgot to mention was caroling. So, I think since I was, like, in 5th grade, I was a part of, a youth choir, and I had to quit because I, like, aged out of it and everything like that, but I've been a singer for a while, and I still am. It's just, like, now I'm getting into more jazz than choir. Um, but basically, every year, we basically carol around, like, a neighborhood in, like, our town, and it's so fun because some people are just like, "Why are you caroling?" They're all like Scrooges, and they're just like, "Ugh, I hate you." And then other people are like, "Oh my god, that's so sweet." But I seriously think that your idea of, like, giving, that's so awesome. Like, Josh's mom, she actually gave me a bunch of, like, Indian clothing, and she's basically like, "Yeah, go do whatever you want with this," and I'm like, "Oh my god, yeah," because we have a few, like, people who are in, like, dire need, like, people who they just wanna feel pretty, like, you want to feel more humane, so it's like, these are all traditional Indian clothes, so it's like, go give them, and some of them don't really look Indian, some of them are just, like, just fancy clothing pieces, so it's like, give them, like, f to people who wanna feel more humane, wanna feel more like, people, so I like that idea, Emily, you should 100% do that.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been thinking about it for a while because I'm like, I want to like, I don't know. I think I've just been doing more reflection this year. And I think now that it's like the holiday season, kind of like the perfect time to kind of execute this like idea. But yeah, I've just kind of been feeling that way for a while. I think like I didn't really recognize it when I was like younger. But I think now that I'm older, like I think about it a lot and I'm just like, dang, like the amount of like privilege that like, like I have in my life. Like I feel like you can definitely like use that to help other people, and I just like really like the idea of community and like, being able to like help people when like you can actually lend like a helping hand and like you actually have like time and like you have like the energy and like you're in a place where like financially or like mentally and like emotionally and just like physically like have the capacity to help people. I feel like you should. And like I don't know. I think me, like, because I'm just like very like empathetic as a person, like I think it was like last year that I kind of started feeling this way. I was just like I would see like homeless people and it would just make me like like, during, like, the winter time especially, and it would just really tug on my heartstrings. I would just think I'd, like, because especially me, I'm so sensitive to the cold, I just think, "Oh my god," like, I can't imagine having to, like, sleep on the freaking street when it's, like, 20 freaking degrees out, that's insane to me. So I was like, "Dang," like, I really wish there was, like, some way we could, like, help these people, and I was like, "Man, like, I could probably, like, do something." I just didn't know what, but I was like, "I feel like I should do something," and I don't know, I think it's just been weighing on my conscience for a really long time. And now that I have, like, the ability to, like, do something or have, like, the means or the resources, and I know, like, some ways I could help, like, I feel like I should, so I feel like it'd be kinda perfect to do it during the holiday season, especially during Christmas, because I really don't think anybody should be alone on Christmas. I feel like that's so
Yeah.
sad. And, like, not having a meal on Christmas, I feel like people deserve, like, a nice Christmas meal. Like, it's really the time to, like, give and stuff, so, you know?
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like if we go to the more religious implications of like the holidays, even though I'm not Christian, and I don't really know if like, what your religious standings are, but it's like at the very least, if we assume okay, it's Jesus's birthday and that's what Christmas really is, or like that's why it was, initially created. It's like giving back, like embodying the good that Christianity says that Jesus basically gave. It's like whenever I, celebrate Christmas, even though I'm not Christian, I'm just like, okay, that's the symbolism. That's the symbolism, Jesus he gave to like everyone and whatnot. And it's like I want to embody the act of giving. I want to be that person. And one cool thing that actually I think one of our NC colleges did was they did like this crochet club. So the crochet club knitted like 200 blankets and it was like from August all the way down to like November 24th and they just like finished I think it was like 150. I'm rounding it to 200. I don't really know how much it was, but they gave it to, like, people who were in, like, dire need of, like, clothing and shelter and whatnot, and just, like, so they could have a nice warm blanket, and then some people actually, like, gave their own blankets, and they took that blanket and then made it into, like, fabric, and then they knitted it into, like, another blanket, like a new one, so I thought that was really cute, and I just wanted to share that with you.
Yeah, no, I think that's really sweet. Like, I love when people use like their talents like for good. And like on an opposite way, it makes me think of like how a lot of companies will give celebrities or influencers free things, even though they legitimately do not need them. I hate that so much. Like, I understand it from a marketing point of view, but I feel like it's just so like when you get down to the principle of it, it just feels so like I don't even know how to explain it. It just feels like wrong in a way.
Crappy. Yeah.
Yeah, there are
Like
people
the
like
Armani bracelet, remember that?
the what?
Do you remember the Armani bracelet that was all over TikTok? Like
Oh
the
my gosh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, like, stuff like that, and it's just, like, sad because it's, like, I don't know, like, there are people in the world who actually, like, need, like, food, water, or just, like, blankets, like you were saying, and just, like, them not being able to get it, it's just, like, so, like, heartbreaking when there are people who are legitimately, like, millionaires and extremely financially well off who can afford to actually get these things and not even blink at what it does to their bank account. Like, them getting it for free is so sad when there are people who can't even afford, like, a 10 piece at McDonald's, like, that's so sad. Like, I don't know. But I really like the idea of just, like, people giving, especially when, like, they have the means and, like, just, like, the whole like, being able to crochet, like, it's like, that's so sweet, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you're taking, like, something that you can do, like, that you're talented in and, like, helping people who, like, actually, like, need something like that. I think it's really beautiful. Like, I've always wanted to learn to, like, do something like that. I feel like I don't really have any, like, tangible talents. I feel like everything I have is kind of like an ability or, like, a skill. Well, I mean, like, crocheting is a skill, but I feel like everything that, like, I'm, like, good at is something that's more, like, mentally applicable as opposed to kind of, like, a physical skill. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, like, I feel like I have, like, strong study habits, like, as an example, but, like, I don't know how to, like, paint. Like, stuff like you know what I'm saying? Like, you see, like, what I'm getting at, sort of, like, the, like, mental, like, ability as opposed to, like, actual, like, physical skills, like, yeah, I tried to teach myself piano when I was, like, in 8th grade. I learned "Ode to Joy" and "Drops of Jupiter" by Train, and that was it. I can't, I don't know anything else. I've tried to teach myself to read music, but I can't. Yeah, I've tried to teach myself, like, languages, and that I can do, but I would love to actually, like, learn a physical skill like drawing or crocheting. I feel like that's such a cool able to say that you can do. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no, I feel like that's, I feel like I don't know. Honestly, for the music thing,
mm,
I'm gonna come to Baltimore one day, and I'm gonna be like, "Okay, Emily, I have all the music, let's go. Let's learn this stuff."
oh
Because
my god, I would love that.
I should send you that in our Christmas gift. Oh my gosh, should we tell them about the little thing
Oh,
we're doing?
yes, we should tell them. Do you wanna
Okay,
practice?
you
You should
wanna go?
practice.
Okay. So me and Emily, what we're doing is I think it was like what, September? We decided on doing a gift exchange with each other because we were talking about culture back then too, and we were talking about like sharing each other's culture and everything. And I was like, wow, this is really interesting. So for the holidays, we're actually doing a cultural exchange where I send Emily some like Indian things and like along with some other stuff, and she's sending me some stuff from El Salvador. So Emily,
Yeah. I feel like it's honestly, like, we wanted to have it, like, done by, like, this episode, but, like, we couldn't. But, like, next episode, we will have to, like, unveil our gifts, honestly.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We will
100.
have that because yeah, I feel like it's gonna be really nice, and I feel like it's gonna be really exciting to see what we picked out. Like, I know I sort of know what Envy is sending me, but, like, I'm curious, and I'm gonna, like, what is it, try to, like, keep it on the download the stuff that I'm sending you, so that way, like, you're surprised as well. I feel like it'd be kinda fun.
Oh my gosh. No, because actually some of the stuff that I'm sending Emily is, I think it pertains to a few of the episodes. So what I try to do was basically add a few elements from each of the episodes we were talking about this far. So like, for example, our introductory episode was like the Shein fast fashion stuff. Like I have aspects from each episode we've done along with a few conversations me and Emily have personally had. So they're all in each gift. And I think I'm sending her like 3 to 5. I'll have to, like, narrow it down to see, but, like, each one of those gifts, they has symbolism in it, so I'm so excited to talk about it next episode, oh my gosh.
That's so sweet, that's, like, so thoughtful. Like, actually a tear up, that is so freaking sweet.
No,
The
oh
way
my god.
the way I base all your gifts is literally just, like, largely on, like, your interests and, like, stuff that you've told me that you liked. Like, that's just mostly it, and just, like, a couple of just, like, festive little things, like, thrown in there too. But I mostly, like,
Aw.
based on, like, your interests.
No, I love that. No, it's just because, like, I don't know, it's the holidays, right? I'm so grateful to have Josh's mom introduce me to you and Josh to introduce me to you, and I'm so grateful to be on this podcast, and thank you to all our viewers, oh my gosh, you guys, I think our first episode that I did with on this podcast, um, everyone they were like, "Okay, how many views do you think we got?" And I was like, "I don't know, 400," because I didn't think that much, but there were 14,000 of you watching, and that made my day. And even now, I'm so grateful to every single one of you listening to this. You guys have made my year. Oh my gosh. And I was actually talking to Emily about like, sophomore slump and everything. But this podcast every month makes it so worth it. And I just wanted to say that we can't really have a December podcast episode without me just telling you guys how thankful I am for all of you, how thankful I am for Emily, how thankful I am for our radio host. Oh my gosh, I love you guys. You're great. Okay, back to the episode though. Um, so any more things for culture and whatnot, or do you want to move on to our next segment?
Should we move on to our segment? What do you think? Yeah, we can move on to our segment. Should we do our, like, when we talk to do our science segment first? Let's do that one first. I like
Go
ending
ahead.
on
Yeah. I
I
don't
like
actually know much about it, so off to you, Emily.
Oh, yeah. So, Envy and I wanted to talk about for our science slash like school segment was the planetary alignment that's going to happen over in January. Me saying over in January is like January is a place, but yeah, we want to talk about that and just kind of like one thing I've always been fascinated about is just the different interpretations of cosmic events. I've always thought that was really interesting, especially culturally. I feel like we talk so much about culture on this podcast, but I honestly just love talking about cultural relativity. I feel like it's so beautiful to be able to see how one specific thing or event can be interpreted in so many different ways depending on where you're from or what values you have based on your region. But what I wanted to tie into it was, I mean, I feel like that's going to be very interesting to see, just like the cosmic event in and of itself. Like, I was trying to see if there were any like planetariums that I could possibly like go and see that because I feel like that would be like really cool. I think it's like I forgot what time of day it's happening. Aside from like the actual like alignment, I've seen so many posts about it, and I'm actually really excited to like try to find like tickets for it. But one thing I like the main thing I wanted to discuss was like eclipses because that's what it reminded me of, just like the different cultural interpretations of that. I took an astronomy class when yeah, I took an astronomy class because I have to take a required like science. So I took an astronomy class. I think it was when was it? I think it was my freshman year. No, it was my sophomore year fall semester. That's when I took it. Yeah, I took my astronomy class. It was really cool. But I remember our professor, he used to offer extra credit, and the extra credit was you would go to the planetarium shows and you would just like let him know that you went, like take a picture, email it to him. And honestly, like such awesome extra credit because it was honestly so fun. I loved going to those shows so much. But yeah, we learned about eclipses, and I remember him like showing us this one video in the planetarium, obviously the little dome shape, so you're like laying back like this. But yeah, I remember one of the videos was just talking about the different like cultural interpretations of eclipses and how some cultures, I forget which, like, group it was, but I remember they, like, assumed that, like, what is it? That, like, eclipses were, like, evil and, like, there had to be, like, human sacrifices. It was, like, this whole thing. And then some people, like, interpreted different, like, cosmic events as, like, representing animals, which was, like, really cool. I remember, like, a lot of times it was, like, apex predators and then, like, actual, like, prey animals just, like, kind of, like, interlinking. I always thought that was really interesting. And then I think my favorite interpretation, I think this might be one of the Native American interpretations, but I might be wrong, is that like eclipses like usually mean kind of like turning over a new leaf, like starting like a new like era. And I've always thought that was really beautiful. How like what is it like people can see something like that and just make it so profound. And then, of course, you have to, like, tie in, like, actual astrology into it just because like, people from different cultures, like, deriving meaning from the constellations and just having it mean something so profound in terms of what it means, like, to us and, like, how we are as people. Yeah, I just really love how, like, we can take something, like I was saying, just so, like, ordinary and, like, make it into something so, like, meaningful. Yeah, that's what I wanna touch base on with that. I thought that was, like, really cool, but any thoughts, anything to add?
I'm actually trying to find this book. So I was gifted this book for my birthday because I'm
Yeah.
actually really into astrophysics. Of course, I want to go into law and whatnot, but I love, 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 love astronomy. And then in this book, it basically discusses like it's a Neil deGrasse Tyson book. Neil deGrasse Tyson. I don't know how to say
That's
his
so
yeah,
cool.
so basically it has, like, the different things, and then you can basically take your face and put it in there as a magnifying glass, and then look at the things in 3D. And it's one of the best birthday gifts I've ever been given. I've used it so many times, and it basically tells you about, like, the cosmic event, and then gives you a description of it, like the scientific one and also the spiritual one. I think there's a spiritual one, I have no idea. And it's, like, the different constellations, like the white holes, black holes, etcetera, etcetera. Uh, well, white holes is kind of like a black holes, it's kind of like a drawn thing. They're all kind of drawn, but, you know, like solar clusters, whatnot. But I think that no, like the culture aspect of astronomy is so profound and so amazing, as you've said. I know in some cultures, in India, there is like the belief that piercings give you specific connections to different celestial deities. At least this is what my grandmother told me, but keep in mind, you know, they get their everything is oral. And the thing with culture and astronomy and just culture in general is it is kind of corrupt only because, you know, when you learn something orally, you don't really get to know the whole picture of it, if that makes sense. So, what my dad described it as is his parents told him this, and he was told that by his grandparents, and his grandparents were like told by that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So because of that, it's like the meaning is lost, but only like the you have to do this is still there. So my grandmother, she said, I got this piercing and that piercing because it puts me in this chakra and that celestial being and whatnot. Um, but like, you know, it's like how the moon and the tides connect. It's like the gravitational pull, blah, blah, blah. But it's like the impact that we have to these celestial bodies through our piercings isn't that big of a deal, but it's just something I wanted to bring up because it's something that I know for sure some Hindu cultures do explore.
That's really cool, and I've heard, like I don't know too much about it, but, like, me always relating everything back to, like, the courses I've taken in school, but I learned a little bit about that in my Eastern religions class, actually. Yeah, I took an Eastern religions
You
class.
took every class, Emily. What?
No, I literally take the most random classes because 'cause I'll just read the course name and I'm like, "Okay, if it's interesting and it goes towards graduation, I'm gonna take it." Like, that's literally me. But yeah, I took it and it was a really cool class. We learned a lot about, Buddhism, what is it? Hinduism, and then, Islam. So those were, like, the main religions. I think we touched a little bit on, like, Shintoism, and then there's another, like, minor religion too that we, like, touched.
Taoism, Jainism.
Yeah, we touched on both of those actually,
Oh,
and
Sikhism?
Jainism. No, we didn't touch
Okay.
on that. I would have remembered because But yeah, I remember hearing about that, just like how like different piercings can like connect you to like what is it, celestial beings, and then we also learned about like the different chakras, and then what else did we learn about? There was something else. It was kind of like an energetic like force that like I forget what it's called. Me forgetting the terminology already. I forget what it was. But and then oh, we also, like, learned about, like, feng shui for some reason, which was, like, really cool. I know that's not related to Hinduism, but, like, I thought that was really cool as well. But yeah, like, my point is just, like where was I going with this? My point is that it's all, like, very, like, interesting, and it's one of those things where it's, like, it's so interesting to see how, like, what is it? Different, like I don't know, just, like, something as simple well, not simple, well, something that, like, most people wouldn't, like, think has, like, a lot of depth, like a piercing, like, it's really interesting to see how profound it is, like, for, like, a specific culture or, like, group of people, whereas, like, I feel like with, like, Americans, like, we don't have that, like, connection to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, for us, it's kind of like people pierce their ears more so for fashion as opposed to, like, religious reasons. Like,
Yeah,
I like,
100%.
the yeah, like, the reason isn't as, like, profound. So it's really interesting to see, like, how where you go in the world can, like, impact, like, things that you wouldn't think, like, have like, a lot of depth. And then what else did we learn about too? I'm trying to think because there was a lot. But yeah, we learned about how, like, a lot of things are mostly, like, spoken and, like, passed down through generations, like, that way. Like, sometimes, like, they aren't necessarily written, like, sometimes they might be, sometimes they aren't, but how, like, they're typically communicated, like, what is it, like, through, like, community, especially in, like, traditional cultures or, like, collectivist cultures, like, a lot of things, they're not necessarily, like you learn them, like, through hearing them as opposed to, like, actually, like, reading them somewhere, and I was like, "Oh, that's, like, really interesting because I feel like with, like, American culture, it's not, like, as common, like, there are some things, like, that you do hear, but it's more so, like, phrases, I feel, as opposed to kind of, like, common, as opposed to, like, what is it, things that are, like, spoken, like, down, like, I think, like, for me like, it isn't necessarily religious, but, like, my mom will always, like ever since I was a kid, she'd be like, "Don't walk outside because like, when your hair is wet because you're gonna get sick." Like, I am not sure if that's, like, also, like, common for Americans, but that's what I mean, like, it's not that doesn't have necessarily a religious connotation, but, like, I feel
It's
like
like
in
a teaching, yeah.
yeah, like, in collectivist cultures, like, teachings are typically, like, spread through, like, word of mouth, like you were saying, as opposed to what is it, like, being read, and like you were saying, like, sometimes it's, like, it'll get kind of, like it could get lost in translation just because, like, you're not hearing it, like, verbatim from, like, the straight source, like, the bare principle is always there, so, like, you always
Yeah.
take the principle. Yeah.
I need to add on to that, my grandfather, he tells me, "Don't brush your hair at night," and then my grandmother, she's like, "Don't wear gold on your feet," and then blah, 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 and I'm just like, "Okay, interesting." And the best way that my father put it was that it's like reading a textbook, and the textbook states the cat has 3 legs. No matter what, even though you know the cat does not have 3 legs, the cat has 3 legs. That's just basically what the culture was. Now it's changing in India. I can't really speak for India as a whole because ethnically, I'm Indian, but I'm not Indian. I wasn't born and raised there, so I really can't speak on that. But what I find funny, or what I found funny, was the fact that while I was talking about how these teachings aren't well articulated, I couldn't articulate myself. So symbolism, we love her. But yeah, no, I love that you're learning about all of these different things, and I just wanted to add that there's I don't know, doesn't China and like the other East Asian, cultures, don't they have Lunar New Year or something of the sort?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
they do.
So,
Yeah,
my friends, they all celebrate that. And they have mooncakes they eat too, my Cantonese friends, they have that, so I don't
that's really
know, but I just remembered that out of nowhere because we were talking about Eastern religions and stuff like that, but I think the different Eastern religions have, like, different, things, but I feel like with the America thing, I think it's because we have such an amalgamation of different cultures that we don't really know how to, build
yeah.
one own. But it's also because we're such a modern nation, we're also very modern with our thinking in the sense of we don't really keep those traditional things. We kind of continue forward. Because I remember learning in AP Euro, circling back to our first episode, AP Euro, they believed in these things. They believed in astrology. They believed in all of these things, but it was seen as a religious thing, and it wasn't seen as a secular belief. So it was shamed upon, and people were like, "I don't want that anymore. I don't want to condone that and whatnot." So they just went away from it. Like the closest thing that we still have from like I guess European culture that like connects to astrology and whatnot are like tarot cards, but even those are a little like mainstream, so I don't really know.
one thing that I found, like, really interesting is all about, like, what is it, Eastern, like, what is it, like, Northeastern what was I saying? Where am I going with this? Oh, Northeastern religions is like you were saying, like Lunar New Year and just kind of how like they have like different like years that coordinate to like animals. I like how that yeah. I think I was born in the year of the goat. Yeah, I was born in the year of the goat. Yeah, I was born in the year of the goat. But yeah, I just like I feel like kind of like just like what we were like saying before, just like being able to tie things like cosmically and like have it like be so profound. Like I feel like even with like astrology, like I think there's different types of astrology. There's like Eastern and Western, I think those are the 2 differentiations, I forget, but there's, there's, like, different ways of, like, interpreting it, and it's just really, like, interesting to just to see, like I was saying before, just, like, I don't know, like, how profound, like, things can be. Like, I feel like this is more, like, sort of, like, cultural as opposed to, like, scientific, but, like, still, I think it's just really interesting and just, like, how they use, what is it, like, different cosmic events or different, like, cosmic items to kind of, like, predict personality. I feel like that's really interesting too, because I
Yeah.
remember kid, and I remember, like, in elementary school, we had this one librarian, she was so cool, I loved her. I remember she always, like, every month, like, she made an effort to, like, be, like, culturally inclusive. I remember she would bring in, like, indigenous items from, like, different, like, Native American tribes to show us, and, like, we would be allowed to, like, pass around, like, touch them, and she'd be like, "Just be careful." Like, she would bring in, like, different fabrics and stuff, and, like, she would show us just, like, traditional things, and, like, she would tell us about, like, the history, and then I remember she would, like, read us different books, like, talking about, like, different, like, cultural cuisines, and I remember, we learned about, like, what is it, a lot of, like, Chinese history, and we were talking about, like, how, like, different animals coordinate to, like, different years, and I remember, like, we, like, learned what our animals were, and I was like I remember, like, I was so jealous of the kids who were like, "You're the dragon." I was like, "Ah, no freaking fair." Like, I wanna be the
I was too! Oh my gosh, it's the year of the tiger and the year of the dragon. I think I'm the year of, like, the cow and whatnot, and I was just like, the cow, ah!" But, it was so fun. Right now sorry, I was, like, currently trying to find something. So in India, they have this thing, and it's a birth chart, and it's basically, like, all astrology. So
Yeah, what I was talking
I
yeah.
don't even know. I was trying to look for it, I can't find it. But basically, you're given, like, a star, and the thing is I am a failure of an ethnic Indian because I forgot to mention this, but Indians put such a heavy emphasis on marriage and your zodiac sign star things. Like, they
Mhm.
put such a heavy emphasis. Like, my cousin right now, she's trying to get married, and no one wants to marry her because she has an unlucky star for woman, and everyone's like, "I don't know." They're still very superstitious even though they're, moving towards it. So I am born under the star for, I think, the god Rama. So he's like the archer and he's not the archer. Why am I'm not okay. Uh Forget I said anything. I'm sorry, I'm mixing up my gods. But yeah, I was born under Rama and like that's a pretty good star for women. It's actually one of the rarer stars. So if I was in India right now, while it would be a good star for women, I'd also have probably some issues getting married. So I just wanted to bring that up because I just remembered that. And it's like this thing that you're given at birth. Marriages, they're decided on that. Like your baby's future is decided on it. It's like your whole life and death is decided on the stars. So just wanted to add that.
Dang, now I'm curious about mine. I'm like, "Wait, now I need to know." Like, what is my look like? But no, I think stuff like that is, like, really cool. It's really interesting to see how, like, it ties into culture and just the way that your life carries out, and in a way, like, I think for me, like, I've always, like one thing, like, what is it that astrology always reminds me of, like, specifically, like, I'm always like, I wonder how much of it is, like, what is it, like, intrinsic to your personality, whereas, like, how much of it is, like, a self-fulfilling prophecy in a sort of way. Do you know what I mean? Where it's kind of like, you, like, have the projection of your life, so you feel the need to, like you kinda, like, subconsciously feel the need to, like, adhere to that, and that kind of, like, reinforces it. Like, sometimes I wonder stuff like that because I remember, like, I read this one book. It was called Kafka on the Shore by Murakami. I really love the book, it's so good, and I remember he was trying to run from, like, his fate, and it was, like, this whole thing, but then, like, everything he did kind of brought him back to, like, what he was trying to, like, run from. Like, he always, what is it? Like, inadvertently, like, went back to, like, the fear that, like, he was trying to, like, run away from just because it was so deep-seated that, like, mentally he always brought himself back to it in a way. And so I was like so that's what it makes me, like, think of, like, that's, like, the mental connection I made. I'm like, I wonder how much of it is, like what is it? You feel the need to, like, subconsciously adhere to it because it's, like, that's what people have been telling you is gonna happen, and that's what's, like, been projected. It's one of those things where it's, like, so culturally ingrained. It's, like, You know what I mean? It's not something that you can just, like, because I feel like it's not something that you can just be like, "Oh, well, like, try to, like, space yourself away from just because it's so, like, deeply ingrained, like, in your social circles and just, like, the way that, like, everyone thinks." So I'm like, I wonder how much of it is, like, what is it? Like, intrinsic to your personality and just, like, your, like, life as a whole as opposed to, like, how much is of it is, like, you feel the need to,
Placebo effect.
yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
I always wonder.
Yeah, I get that. I feel like we here in America, like us Americans, we have something similar. Like, you know those zodiac sign girls or like the ones who are like, "Hi, my name's Rebecca and I'm a Taurus and my whole personality revolves around Tauruses and I hate cancers. They're the worst. They're cancerous and whatnot." Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, I know. I know exactly what you're talking about. People like that, I'm always like, because I feel like there's so much more to, like, a person than just, like, their sun sign. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like people are, like, so inherently, like, complex that it's, like, it's so, like it's almost, like, rude in a way to dismiss people just because of, like, what their star sign is. Because 'cause I'm just
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Because people are
Mhm.
especially like that towards Geminis. They be like, "Hate Geminis, they're so
I'm a
judgy."
Gemini. Oh, no. No, but the thing is, the fun thing is like when we do these like spiritual things, like I have had the opportunity to talk to a few tarot card readers, and essentially what they look at when they're talking about like zodiac signs and whatnot, especially like the Indian ones and like the American ones, basically just anyone who deals with astrology, they look at like as you said, the sun sign, that's the one that everyone knows, and there's like your moon sign, there's like your rising sign, there's this, there's that. So they all like is like a whole circle, like a natal sign or whatnot that just shows the different aspects of your personality and everything. So I just wonder, like, the more complex it gets, would it be, like, more into your personality, or would that just be, like, it's encompassing more things which make it, like, more likely to at least, you know, I guess,
Like, sort of
refer
apply
to
to
something
you.
that yeah,
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
you.
I think, like, a big critique I've seen, like, of astrology is that, like, it's so, like, general that it could apply to, like, anybody, even if it's, like, something that's specific to your star sign, it's something that can be like, it's so generalized, it's, like, applicable to anybody, so it's not really something that's, like, applicable to you as an individual, and I'm just like, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know, because 'cause I'm just like I feel like once you get, like, deeper into it, like, in, like, encompass, like, a whole chart, like, I feel like that, like, you might be able to see a little bit more, like, understanding and, like, something that's a little bit more, like, specific to you. But I feel like sun signs are pretty general. Like, I'm a Sagittarius, but, like, TBH, like, low key, I kinda am a textbook Sagittarius. I can't even lie.
No, Emily! It's okay. We still love you.
Thank you. But yeah, no. Yeah, I feel like I'm such, like, a textbook, like, Sagittarius. Like, sometimes I read stuff about it and I'm just like, I mean,
You
yeah, like, I
are. You're just a little bit of a Sagittarius. You know what? Getting off of like the topic of solar signs and whatnot, there's like a similar effect. Have you like heard of MBTI? You're in psychology, so I feel like you would
yeah,
have. Myers Briggs.
I'm an
Yeah.
INTJ.
You're an INTJ?
I'm an INTJ. What about
I'm an
you?
ENFJ. OMG.
Aw.
No, because some guy who's actually like he came to our school and he was like typing us. This was in middle school. And you know, like your types can't really change. They're kind of just like flexible and whatever. Uh so basically he was like, "You're an ENFJ, you're just kind of leaning towards this and this." And I think like now I'm like you with your Sagittarius. I'm like every time I see ENFJ, I'm like, I'm that. I am very much that description. And it makes me feel sad because I'm like, oh my god, I'm like those, like, Zodiac Rebeccas. I can't become like this. What does it become to? But
Yeah,
I'm
no,
yes.
I love tools like that, though. I think they're so interesting. In my personality class, we had somebody come in and talk about the Enneagram. Do you know what that is? Like, it's like yeah. Mhm.
Yes, yes, I know what you're talking about.
I wanna get typed so badly. I've been meaning to, like, take it online forever, but I always forget, and I remember the lady who came in to speak to us about the Enneagram, she was saying, like, specifically how, like, she prefers it because it's not one of those things where it pigeonholes you. It's more so I forget what she said specifically, but it's supposed to, like, help you, like, reach, like, your best self. Because I think the Enneagram relates to, like, your biggest, like, struggle. I could be
Yeah,
yeah, but I'm pretty sure that's what she was saying, if I remember correctly. And yeah, she was just saying it doesn't like pigeonhole you the same way that like other like personality like tools do. I think like MBTI is like super, super common, but I think in even my other class, in my ISI class, like they kind of like they use it, but they more so utilize like the big five, like the ocean like thing where it's like openness, extrovert. Yeah, they prefer using that just because like, it's traits that everybody has, but just, like, to different levels. So I think that's really interesting as opposed to, like, the MBTI where it's kind of like it groups you with, like, one as opposed to the other, but with, like, Ocean, I think they prefer it now just because it just discusses traits that, like, everybody has, but it shows, like, to exactly, like, what, like level you're at, like, with in relation to that, like, specific characteristic. So I think that's really interesting. But I don't know, I think one of those people where I'm like, I really like structure, so I really like the MBTI, and I feel like it's super fun. But, like, I feel like I used to love it, I used to swear by it when I was younger. But, yeah, now that I'm older, I'm like, "Okay, guys, like, I see, like, the faults with it, but, like, it's fun, like, come on now."
That's why I like it, yeah. Like, we also got, like, typed like, with that, MBTI, we also got typed an Enneagram, and they struggled so hard to type me because they were like, "You're like an 8," but then ENFJ 8s, that's kind of like, that doesn't really work together, so they were like, "Huh, that doesn't make sense." So they typed me as an 8, but then, like, an 8 wing 7 because they had to add wings into it, and I was like, "What the flip?" But eventually we ended on a 3. I'm a 3, basically, and I'm just like, that's the imposter syndrome kicking in though, because it's like the 3 is, like, known for being achievement, ambitious, etcetera, etcetera. Actually, Barack Obama is an ENFJ, 3, so I'm just like,
That's
I
so
am not that
cool.
guy. I'm not as talented. I cannot be as talented and as smart as, like, these people. But that imposter syndrome kicked in. I'm just like, "I no way I'm a 3." Like, I have to be someone, like, funny and crazy and not smart, but, like, now I'm like, "Okay." I like the Enneagram more because it's like, okay, it's helping me, number 1, overcome my issues in imposter syndrome, and number 2, become a better person because, it's like giving me a perspective on issues that I'm like, "Wow, I didn't know I had that. Let me work on that." So I'm becoming a better person now. But I don't swear by it, but at the same time, I'm still like, helpful tool.
No, I really like it, and I do think you're very smart on top of being so
Thank you, Emily. I
you're fine,
appreciate it.
don't worry. But yeah, no, what other ones are there? Because I feel like there's definitely like a ton. I think yeah, MBTI, there's the Enneagram. There's another one too that I'm not
There's the
thinking of.
big 5. That's the
Yeah,
another
Big
one.
5. Yeah, Big
Yeah.
5. I think those are the main.
Um,
There's
there
more because I used to be obsessed.
there's like the caloric sanguine,
Oh, yeah, the one that relates to some sort of like some like ancient culture, I think it is. Is it Greek or is it Roman?
I think it's one of the classical cultures. I don't know which one, but I remember learning about that. That's one. There's another one where it's like, I don't know, but it's like the letters, so it's like a VELF or like VELF, that's one. There's like, the different combo of like specific letters to show the different aspects of your personality. I don't know what that's called, but I remember being so obsessed. I was like, this is what's gonna tell me everything about myself, and now I'm just like, it's
Eh,
whatever.
oh my goodness. What time? Should we move on to our next segment
We
since it's
should. Emily, favorite movie, go.
My favorite Christmas movie, guys, is The Nutcracker in the Four Realms. I watched it once, actually, when I first started high school. I think it was like during COVID, and I got obsessed with it because I love fantasy movies. I don't know why. I love fantasy. I love sci-fi. Like it just does like something to my brain. Like scratches like an itch in my brain. Like anything that's like that. And also, I also love like animation, cartoons, and stop motion. Like I love anything like that. But favorite Christmas movie, was it The Nutcracker and the Four Realms, and then I really love anything, like, fantastical. Like, I love Alice in Wonderland, I love Coraline, I love Fantastic Mr. Fox, like, stop motion in general or just, like, anything fantastical, like, I just love. But what about you? Favorite Christmas movie or any
Okay.
movies?
No, this one's hard because it's like, I don't know, but I there's this one, and it's this Hallmark thing. I used to be so addicted to Hallmark films. No, listen, hear me out. This is my hear me out cake, guys.
Okay.
It's like all the Hallmark movies, all the Christmas Hallmark movies. I sound like an old Southern woman, but I love Hallmark movies, okay? And there's this one, and it's called Christmas Island,
Wait,
and
like, ironically or unironically?
unironically, I'm a horror no, I watched it, ironically, okay, and then I got addicted because it's like the plot is so bad, but the feelings are so good. I love watching this. So there's this one, it's called Christmas Island, and basically it's just this woman, and she's, like, flying this really rich, like, family to the Alps for, like, their Christmas thing, and they get stuck on a place, and it's called Christmas Island in, like, Newfoundland, Canada, or whatever, and they had to stay there, and they get addicted to the place, and they never leave, and they're, like, dealing with family issues and everything like that, and the first time I watched it, I was like, "OMG, this is so cringy, I need to watch it again," and then I got hooked onto it, and I don't know why I'm continuing to watch it, but I've watched it, like, 3 times this season, and I need to stop.
Honestly, I, like, understand you so much because that was me when I was younger. I watched Barbie: Life in the Dream House, like, ironically, because I thought it'd be, like, crazy, and then I actually got hooked. I was like, "This show is good." Like, I don't understand, like, the show is good. Like, it's so good. So I completely understand you. Low-key, I kinda need to get him to, like, the Hallmark movies because 'cause I've been meaning to watch them, and then I never do, but, like, it's one of those things where I feel like I'm gonna be like you, where I start off watching it ironically, and then afterwards I'm gonna be like, "This is, like, so, like" it's so like, it's one of those things where it's like, you can only go, like, so far left until you start going right. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so bad it starts to get good. Like, it's like that. I feel like it has to be like that.
No, that's real. Because I started watching, like, those commentary YouTubers, like, watching these, like, crazy Christmas movies, and I was like, "Huh, that's funny, I wanna watch that." Like, look up Neil Breen. When you, like, get off this, look up Neil Breen. I promise you, you will cry. It is terrible, and it looks so awesome. I'll text it to you, by the way, but
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like for all our viewers, Neil Breen is essentially this man who makes, like, his own productions, and the animations are something to die for, and I don't mean it in a good way, but you'll like it eventually. Yeah, but I don't know. I like the really wacky, weird ones, and it's all because these commentary YouTubers are like, "That was really weird," and I'm like, "I wanna watch that," and I watch it, and I'm like, "Huh, I
You know
like
what I
that."
feel like you would really like? Like, Darman. Have you watched, like do you
Stop! I Why?
I feel no, I, like, used to watch, like, Darwin ironically, but now I watch him, like, unironically, like, I just, like, needed to tune in, like, I have to, like, tune in now. I think I'm subscribed to him on YouTube, actually.
No. Oh
You
my
know what I
gosh.
love?
I
You
I
know what I love?
used to watch him so much when I was, like, 11 and 12. Every day, Darman, 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 and then I just, like, stopped watching it out of nowhere. I need to go back.
Oh my god, yes, please, like, they, like, make some crazy ones. I think there's this one where, like, the rich, like, daughter, she got, like, ditched by, like, her dad or something, and it was so, like the plots are so random, and, like, I love the dialogue, I'm not even gonna lie, the dialogue, like, always kills me, but it's, like it's so funny, just, like, I don't know, like, I love watching them, but my brother actually watches them unironically, which I think is so funny. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I like. Yeah, Darman. I watched Darman.
Oh my gosh, Emily, is Nightmare Before Christmas a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie?
You know, I always say it's a Christmas movie, but I'm just a weirdo. So I for me, I'm like horror all year round.
Did I say
Like,
Halloween Before Christmas?
did you? I don't
Did
think
I?
so.
That's a terrible. Okay, moving on. I would also say it's a Christmas movie. I don't know. I'm
I
with
love
you
that
on
movie
your
too.
train.
Yeah, I think like somebody's asking that before. They're like, "Do you think it's like a Halloween movie or Christmas movie?" And I'm like, "It's a Christmas movie." At the end of the day, because like when I see Jack Skellington wearing that little Santa hat, I'm like, I feel festive. Dun,
Yeah,
dun.
like, I don't know. I feel like Christmas is the more dominant holiday because right after Thanksgiving, we're on to Christmas. I don't know, because like Halloween, it gets like 1 day, and so does Christmas, but it's like Christmas gets a whole month and a
Yeah,
half, like half of Thanksgiving's month. And it's just like all the way down. And then Halloween, it gets like 1 month, and that's really it.
no, yeah, Halloween literally just gets, like, a weekend. Christmas is, like, literally all month, like, as soon as it's December, it's Christmas. Like, I don't it's so true too. And then
Yeah.
what else?
I don't
Oh,
know. It's just
oh,
like go
I
ahead.
was gonna say favorite Christmas song. Do you have a favorite Christmas song?
Okay, you hmm. I don't know if this counts. Basically, I like this band. They're called Sales, and they have a
Oh,
song
I love
that's called
Snail, they make really good music.
Yes. Okay, well, I like Chinese New Year. I don't really know if that's like a Christmas, but like, it's like Lunar New Year anyway. It's like Lunar New Year season, so I just like that song. I don't know why, but that's one of them. I don't know about the other one is just like this really old French song about killing your enemies and taking the head of your enemies, but like
Okay,
it's
cool.
Christmas themed.
That is so funny. There's this one, like, classical song that I really like. What is it? What is the one it's about, like, the snow fairies? What is it called? They played it in the freaking Barbie movie. When they
Actually, oh my gosh.
not the actual, like, Barbie movie, but, like, the old, like, animated ones from, like, the early 2000s.
Oh,
What is it?
really?
Is it, like, Sugar Plum Fairy? Like, Sugar Plum me searching it up because I don't
That's not the right
yeah.
one.
Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy.
That one?
I love it so
That was
much.
a Max and Ruby song, and I love that song.
Oh my god, I love Max and Ruby. I can't even lie. I used to love that show.
Their
But
grandma was my favorite.
The grandma, oh my gosh, her making her like appearance to take care of those children like once like a year is like so like why was Ruby raising her like 3-year-old brother? I'm so like child, she was like 7. Like, what is going on?
I don't even know. Like, where were the parents? They're just like on some business trip somewhere. That's how Gen Alpha is made. iPad kids. They're just sitting on their iPads. Their parents are on like business trips. They have one nanny and they're just like, okay, we're Gen Alpha.
Oh my god, that is so freaking fun. I love Max and Ruby though. I remember the episode where like I think Ruby like tore like her grandma's dress or something like that. I kind of forgot. Tea. But yeah, that was super interesting. But oh my gosh, what else was I gonna say? Oh, but yeah, Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy is my favorite Christmas song. And then honestly, like I feel like the pop music for around Christmas like actually gets pretty good. Like Mistletoe by Justin Bieber, I can't even lie, is like really good. Like I can't.
I was like, yes, until you said that. Then I was like, no. No, wait, what's that Justin Bieber song? He's like, no, like I don't even know. But it's like, yes, 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 then I'm no, no. How does it go?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I think that's Off Purpose. It's freak. It's that one song about Selena Gomez. I know that though.
Oh
I
my
think
gosh.
I think it's Sorry. Is it Sorry? I
Is it too late now to say sorry? Oh,
Yeah, it is Sorry. Yeah. No,
ah,
but the pop music around Christmas is like my guilty pleasure. Like I don't care. Like
I don't
I'm
blame you. I don't blame you. That one was foul, but the other ones, okay. I'll take it. You know what people are saying on, like, Twitter? They're like, "Oh my god, Mariah Carey's defrosting," like,
Oh
on
my god,
Instagram.
yeah, they say that every year.
And I'm just like, "I can't stop, like, why? Oh my god." But, yeah, I feel like we've discussed all of our Christmas joy and happiness. So, Emily, any last words? That sounds so ominous.
Oh my god. I guess my last words for this episode specifically, guys, will be thank you guys for watching. Like Umbi was saying earlier, this show would not be the show without the viewers. You guys make this possible, as well as Omnon. Thank you, Omnon. I know he's listening in the background. Thank you so much for producing our show. We are very grateful for all of you guys, and we hope you have a wonderful holiday, regardless of what you celebrate. Just be sure to give back and to have fun, enjoy with your family, your friends, whoever you're close to. And yeah, we'll see you guys next year, actually. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, wow. Well, to a good new year. Bye,
Yeah.
everyone.
Bye, everyone. We'll see you next time.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com and DeltaForce.net.